Hello and welcome to the Courage and Confidence Festival. I'm Peace Mitchell and I'm co-founder of Osmompreneur, the Women's Business School and Women Changing the World Press. I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land that I live and work on, the Mamu people of North Queensland, and I pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging throughout Australia and the Torres Strait. Well, today is International Women's Day and we're very excited to be presenting a whole host of incredible speakers for you. We're celebrating the launch of our brand new book, Courage and Confidence, and proceeds from the sale of this book go to providing scholarships for deserving women in business. And I'm so excited. Our first presenter for today is Natashia Telfer. Please join me in welcoming Natashia.
Good morning. Hello. Happy International Women's Day.
Hello. Happy International Women's Day. It's so exciting to be celebrating like this with incredible women who are also co-authors and collaborating with us in this amazing, amazing book.
Yes.
Yay. So Natashia, for people who haven't met you before, would you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you and what it is that you do?
Yeah, so I'm Natasha, Canberra-based, and I own 5 businesses. My primary business is National Community Care. We provide in-home supports to people living within their homes. However, we're a little bit more niche than your standard service provider in that we can provide complex clinical care, and that gives us the opportunity and scope and skill set to be able to advocate for some of our most vulnerable people within our community as well.
That's really wonderful. So today you're presenting a session for us. Can you tell us just briefly what your session's about today?
Yes, so it's called Own Worst Enemy to Living Your Best Life. And basically it's just overcoming that inner critic, that little voice inside your head that loves to tell you that you can't do things. Something that I think the key takeaway is definitely that you can never get rid of her, but how to manage her effectively. And as businesswomen, she sometimes needs that performance management.
Yeah, absolutely. And such an important message for today, International Women's Day as well.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Yeah. So for people who are tuning in, if you'd let us know, if you're watching live, let us know where you're watching from and say hi in the comments. And if you've got questions for Natashia through the presentation, please post those in the comments as well, as we'll do a Q&A after the presentation. But for now, let's go ahead and run the presentation.
Sounds great. Let's go.
Good morning and welcome to my masterclass, Own Worst Enemy to Living My Best Life. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which I'm presenting from, which is the beautiful Ngunnawal country. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and also extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders here present today. Happy International Day also. I'm very excited to be presenting to you on today of all days, as well as the launch of our amazing book, Courage and Confidence. So I am one of the 24 Australian women in business / co-authors of our new book. And there's a little snippet of all of us. There's me. I'm responsible for chapter 17, Own Worst Enemy. Here's a little glossy version of what my life looks like. I am the business owner of 5 companies and a director of 4 of those. I was born here in Australia, but my heart lies in Fiji, which is where my father and his family grew up. I have been married for a decade. I have 2 beautiful IVF babies, somehow are the whitest islanders in the history of ever. I've been blessed with 2 very pale-faced children, one with the bluest of eyes and the other with green, go figure. I have 3 sisters. I'm one of 3 sisters, I should say, sorry. We have a gaggle of kids between us, and as the saying goes, it really does take a tribe to raise a child. I'm Canberra based. I've been here for 24 years now, so I'm pretty sure that makes me an official Canberran, and we have no plans to leave anytime soon. So my primary company is National Community Care. We are leading the way in home health care in regards to complex care needs. So most community companies provide general services to people within their homes. We are a little bit more niche in that we are compliant and have capacity to provide complex healthcare needs as well, which is pretty special. So what's the purpose of today's workshop? So obviously your own worst enemy. So we're going to be learning to identify your own inner critic, how to shut her down, and how to make that magic happen once she is shut down. So for me, my inner critic fed on so much negativity that I had present within my years of living for a number of years. So as an infant, I was kidnapped. As a child, I was abused. As a teen, I saw racism. And the first year into adulthood, I was diagnosed with cancer in my neck, underarms, lungs, diaphragm, abdomen, hip joints, spine, and bone marrow. So safe to say it was everywhere. That put me at a stage 4B. For those of you that don't know, I didn't know at the time, a stage 4B is the stage before you die. So safe to say it was everywhere and wasn't looking good for me. I fell into this pit of despair, obviously, and as to be expected. However, I also didn't allow myself to go through the process properly. So as you can imagine, all of those events plus the cancer all fed into that negativity and my negative mindset, and then that ultimately affected my self-esteem, my self-worth, my self-belief, all of those self areas, thinking less of myself effectively. So my life sucked pretty hard. I get a lot of questions about this time in my life. I'm very grateful that mobile phones with cameras weren't an invention at that stage. So the only images I do have were snapped on the old-fashioned digital cameras or camera with film, thankfully. It was also just before social media had actually hit Australian shores. So I think my face wasn't too far behind, but far enough that none of these hit the light of day on a social media platform at the time, which I'm very grateful for. So cancer stole from me a number of things. Firstly, my hair. I know that sounds ridiculously vain, but as an 18-year-old, that was the be-all to end-all for me. I know now that that was me in a way masking, dealing with the real stuff that was going on at that time. It was easy to go with the obvious, what makes me look like a sick person, not having hair or eyebrows or eyelashes. That screams chemotherapy patient. But then there was also my primitive purpose. I lost what I thought was my primitive purpose. And I know that sounds so ridiculous, particularly noting that when I'm presenting this on International Women's Day, women are allowed to do and can do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. And I'm all for that. But for me, my primitive purpose, I believed, was to bear children. That was also supported by my cultural beliefs that the woman is the homemaker and the family maker, and sole purpose being to bear children. So with that removed, I no longer had a why. After cancer, why? What is my purpose? What do I do? So I had a lot to go through that process as well, but that's a story for another day. So I found myself in the fight of my life, literally fighting to survive, and on top of that, in a complete identity crisis. Who was I? So safe to say, during that period, I met Negative Nancy. So she'd always been there, however, she was up in my face during this period. So she's that internal dialogue, that self-talk, your inner critic, your own worst enemy. She's the one feeding you those doubts, all that horrible thing, all those horrible things that you believe about yourself. So you might be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, not everyone's faced those kinds of traumas. This isn't applicable to everybody. Trust me, everybody has an inner critic, and I'll prove it to you. So we'll play a game. Never have I ever. Yes, it's a drinking game, so you're more than welcome to take a swig of your alcoholic beverage if you wish. No judgment here, no matter what time of day it is. But essentially, I will make a statement, For every statement that applies to you, make a tally mental note, or raise your hand, give a nod, count on your fingers below screen so I can't see whatever floats your boat, or take that sip of alcohol if you wish, for every statement that's applicable to you. Here we go. Never have I ever felt like a failure, a fraud, or an imposter in any aspect of my life, whether it be personal or professional. Never have I ever doubted my own ability to complete the task or project at hand, or second guess my ideas and execution. Never have I ever believed I was not worthy of the recognition or award I was nominated for or received. Never have I ever felt like I didn't fit in, that guy wouldn't call me back, I wasn't right for the job, I couldn't ask for a pay rise, and I certainly couldn't quit my 9-to-5 job to follow a passion. Never have I ever felt unworthy of the love, support, and appreciation given to me by others. Lastly, never have I ever limited my own growth, keeping myself and my business small because it seemed safe. If you answered yes to any of these questions, even a maybe, that still counts as a yes, chances are you've met your inner critic. Or I've just introduced you to her and you're going to be acutely aware of where she is every time these things pop up from here on out. So how do we shut her down? How do we shut down that inner critic that's telling you these horrible things? So firstly, what is it? So we've unpacked and we understand that she's that internal dialogue that plays a significant role in shaping our identity and how we see ourselves. If we believe the negative things that she's filling our heads with and telling us, then that's going to impact how we think the world sees us and how we act within our place in that world. So ultimately, it affects our identity and how we are actually seen also. It will become how we become seen. It always operates on the side of caution, but excessively so. So yes, Nancy might say to you, well, Natasha, there's railroad tracks there. Don't go too close. You might fall in and the train might run you over. Thanks, Nancy. I'll back it up. However, she can also just twist it that little bit more and shove that knife in a little bit more and go, if you do stand too close, you'll fall in and nobody will even miss you. Then you're kind of going, oh, thanks, Nancy, you're right. Then you start to believe her. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Don't believe her. That one is obviously a very excessive example, but things like you can't apply for that job, you're underqualified, or no, that guy's not going to call you back. No, you cannot eat that donut. You are going to put on 10 kilos if you even look at it. All of those things potentially have the impact to become debilitating to your growth and your self-worth. She dampens your self-esteem, your confidence, and ultimately your productivity. So she begins to impact you in your personal life, your professional life, every aspect, because she's got a clause in you deep. Effectively, your inner critic is fear. I know we all like to think we're fearless, particularly as we get older. There's not much that scares us, but that's what she is. She's feeding on some kind of fear, whether that's fear of failing, fear of succeeding. That is a very common one. You might actually, all your dreams might actually come true. Holy crap, then what? That's fear. The unknown, that uncomfortable, that extension of going beyond your comfort zone all lies within that fear, and that's exactly what Nancy loves to feed off of. So shutting her down, we need to do 4 things. We're going to identify and acknowledge her, name and shame her, question and challenge her. So when we're identifying and acknowledging, as I said, through those never ever questions, there was some pointers there. So you might be thinking back, oh yeah, there's been a few instances. So start to pay attention to situations like that. What is she telling you? What are you believing when she's telling you these things? Notice when you're being self-critical. So if you're at home behind closed doors and you make an error on your computer and you go, oh, I'm an idiot. I messed it up. Great. Oh, I'm such a failure. Okay, cool. Is that something we would say or how we would act in our workplace or in front of our colleagues, our loved ones? I guarantee you not. And that's the point, because subconsciously you know that the behavior that you're exhibiting isn't a true reflection and you're being very self-critical. Or Nancy is being very self-critical. So if you wouldn't do it in front of others, that's a big red flag that Nancy's in play. So she becomes quite easy to conquer when you realize that she is a part of you, but she is not you. So it's also important to remember she's never going to leave you. I've devoured, I don't know how many self-help books trying to figure out how do you actually get rid of her. Turns out you don't, and that's the key. So she's stuck with you like your shadow. So unless you can track down Neverland and Peter Pan and find out how he severed his shadow from his body, she's stuck with you. So it's imperative in acknowledging that she's not you, but she doesn't have to overshadow you. Just allow her to be your shadow, and your shadow is always behind you, right? Right. So recognizing your thoughts are not reality, and they're certainly not how others depict you either. So you might have just eaten that donut and think, oh my God, I'm a fat slob now. I guarantee you that's not how you see. If I ask my husband, do I look like a fat slob now? I just ate a donut. One, he's not going to be game enough to tell me otherwise. But two, if I asked my colleagues, my closest, dearest friends, they're going to tell me I've got rocks in my head, and they're going to make me realize, okay, cool, that's totally in my head. That's totally Nancy. So they're going to back up the actual facts, not the feelings that Nancy's telling me are the facts. So once we realise that and we can see the difference between the facts and the feelings, that's when we can start performance managing her ass. So treat her like a shitty employee. If your employee was causing that kind of shit for other staff, you'd be performance managing their ass out the door. So ensure she knows her place in your workspace, which is your life effectively. So logically, Nancy is an uneducated know-it-all making assumptions and decisions on your behalf. You're allowing her to take the lead role in the movie called Your Life. Why? No, really, why? So think about that, and helping to identify and acknowledge that is where we can start making that shift. So then we're going to name and shame her. So by naming your critic, it becomes less threatening. It's not like it's this inner demon that you have to deal with. It's becomes something outside of your body, removed from you, separate from you. And it makes the behaviours easier to identify and easier to manage and disassociate with effectively. So by separating those feelings, it allows you a fighting chance to get on top of them and come out on top effectively. So name her. If you haven't guessed it yet, mine's called Negative Nancy. There's Serious Susan, Hateful Hannah, Sour Sally, Whinging Wilma, Venomous Velma, Karen, Frank, Bruno, Million and One. There's even a few Disney movies out at the moment, Encanto and Bruno. No, it's not called Bruno, it's called Luca. And even they address those issues about identifying that inner critic and how to overcome them. And even the toughest person with the toughest exterior can still have insecurities, which is Nancy. So that's pretty amazing that Disney are even portraying that within kids' movies. So that's 2 movies within the last 12 months that have picked up on that, which is pretty cool. Changing the residual thoughts that lie with you, and shifting those feelings and the language around that from negative to neutral. So this is where it starts to get hard. So we've identified her, we can call her a name, know when she's doing her shit, but now is the call for action where you actually have to do something about it. So this is where a lot of people come unstuck. So it's turning that language from negative to neutral. We don't need to be a positive Polly and, all roses and sunflowers. I know that's not for everybody. So it's just about shifting that language and softening it somewhat to make it easier, to give yourself the best chance forward. So changing, as I said, that negative to that neutral starts with your language. So things like, oh, I can't apply for that job. I can't apply for that job yet. I'm going to finish this online course, which has probably got another 2 days. Then I can add that to my resume, and then I'm a shoo-in. I can't apply for that job yet. So putting in yet after any sentence opens up the possibilities that you could, that you can, that you will. This is something that we do with our kids. So anybody that has kids, I'm sure you've heard all the time, I can't do this. Mum, I can't do that. I can't. So we tell them, no, you can't yet. So changing that language. The next day they might come running in, Mum, I did it. Amazing. They've realised that, wait a minute, I can't yet, but when I grow up, I can. The next day they've grown up and they can. The next day after that, don't get me wrong, they probably can't, and they'll be asking me again. However, the idea is they've gotten that process and they've made that change in the language, and they've opened themselves up to the possibility of trying. So if we can teach our kids that, I'm pretty sure I can teach myself that. So by doing this, as I said, you're giving yourself that fighting chance to take some control back. So negative Nancy, the most important thing is acknowledging she is not you. As I said, I like to refer to her as my shadow, so separate from me, but still somewhat attached. She's only as big as I allow her to be. So question her. What the heck does Nancy know? Cross-examine her, challenge her. If she was an employee speaking this much out of turn, you would have performance managed, disciplined, and probably terminated her by now. So what qualifications does she have to be making these uneducated comments? I know to get over that, sometimes you think she's got the same qualifications as me. Well, why isn't she making informed decisions? She's not. She's making emotionally fueled thoughts and feelings only. So it's important to recognize those. So is what she's saying fact or feeling? And that's where that comes into play. So she's like that social media user that is on all the group pages that's always hounding and hammering everybody, friend requests you, and you're thinking, who is this crazy person? You go and stalk their Facebook page, no friends, no content, blank page, screams red flags, total scammer. Am I right? So the first thing you do is decline friend request. And that, my friends, is Nancy. She has no friends, has no one to back her up, no one to support what she's saying, an empty shell of a person behind a keyboard. That's Nancy up here. Then it comes to the reality check, a perspective alignment. So this can go both ways. So is Nancy telling you something that's going to impact your life within 5 minutes, hours, days, weeks, years? Sometimes that might be a yes. So if she's telling you, no, you cannot leave your 9-to-5 job, that's ridiculous, do not follow your passion. I'm afraid to say in 5 years, you're still going to be on that hamster wheel doing the 9-to-5 job, and your passion's probably burnt out because you did nothing about it. Or it's the hottest thing since sliced bread because 20 other people did it half as good as you could have because they took the chance. Or there's the flip side of that where it allows you to realize what just doesn't matter. Wash it away, let it go. The little things like, oh, I ate a donut, I'm going to have to work twice as hard at gym tomorrow. You know what? I don't even regret that in the first 5 minutes. I'll pick the donut every time. So I'm not going to stress about it. Sorry, Nancy. That donut was actually good for my mental health. Maybe not for my physique, but my mental health took priority. Thank you very much. So it mutes out and washes away the things that don't need to stick. And then the things that do need to stick, like the not leaving the 9-to-5 job, allow us to then look at that and go, well, this is my option. I either stay on that hamster wheel and I'm here in 5 years' time, stagnant and stale and still doing the same thing, or I get down and dirty in the icky uncomfortableness. I shut Nancy up and I allow myself to grow. The option sounds pretty easy when it's put like that, but it's the action. So is your critic's message truly life-shattering? Most of the time it's not. But without the ability to align that perspective, you can unknowingly allow her, Nancy, the power to eat you alive before you even know it. So give yourself a fighting chance. So one of my favourite quotes is, the mind is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets and the more it can expand. So if Nancy is a muscle, for some of us, she's a big bloody muscle. But muscles have memory, they can be retrained, and you can teach her the calm, that she's not in control, that she doesn't know what she's talking about. Give yourself that power, improve your own mindset, and then that muscle is your biggest ally. So what are the facts? So we've now learnt that our inner critic is not real. She's only right if you allow her the power to be right. You can take it away from her at any moment and make her be wrong. Let her be wrong. She is wrong. You can't get rid of her, but you can take control of her and damn performance manage her backside. In taking control, you're increasing your potential, your possibilities, your happiness, every aspect of your life. So effectively, you do you. I know that is a saying that is, quote of the year at the moment. It's done to death, but it is the most simplistic, pure, no frills quote that means exactly what it says. You do you. If you're not going to be your own knight in shining armor and come and save your own ass from the negative Nancy that nobody else can see because she's up here, then who else is going to save you? Be your own damn hero and get your life back. So to do that, when we do that, all of a sudden we can take chances. So growth can only happen beyond that comfort zone. So yes, it's icky. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it's about realizing what those feelings are. If it feels unsafe, then by all means, that's a good gut feeling. Keep away. However, if it just feels icky because it's beyond your comfortable zone, it's beyond what you know, it's scary because you might fail or you might succeed, and that's exactly where you need to be, because that is where the growth happens. That's where the extension can occur, and that's where your comfort zone can expand and you will grow. It's like manure. Nobody likes manure. It is shit, literally. But in that, manure is like growth. It will help you grow. So back yourself. In that moment, choose you. If you do not back yourself, then why the hell will any other person want to back yourself either? It's like betting on a horse. If no one else is betting on it, why the hell am I going to put all my money on it? So back yourself so others will back you too. Prove them. Why should they back you? Remember the facts. As I said, I've said it before, your self-thoughts are not the same as the world sees you. So always remember that, and it will always soften that language. Once we do those things, the exciting parts start to happen. The magic can start to occur. So you can step into your light. And this is so phenomenal to see when people can do this. So don't allow your inner critic to be the reason why you do not do something. So ask yourself, if you're going to give up on something or decide something's not for you, if you can truly in your heart of hearts say, I'm not proceeding with this for factual reasons, not because my inner critic told me that I can't, then great. You've probably made an informed decision and you made the right one. But if it's because of Nancy, then you need to go back a few steps and start working on that again. So by stepping into the light, all of a sudden, it is a game changer. You've got it. You'll start being able to feel more comfortable with the more practice you get applying for those positions. We all know what it was like to apply for that first job. It was sickly writing that resume or the selection criteria, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. So same with the job applications. So that is putting your best factual self on a resume or a job application or selection criteria, because you can't put the fluffy feels in there. Oh, I feel like I'm not a very good employee because I'm family oriented. They don't want to know that. They want to know your skill-based factual things that are merit for why you should get the position, not your fuzzy feelings that are going to depict the opposite. When it comes to nominating yourself for awards, whether you're nominating yourself or somebody else nominates you, there's still the process that you need to personally go through to proceed with the nomination. So things like the self-reflection that comes with that. So they're going to ask you questions like, what have you succeeded in or accomplished within the last 12 months of your business? That in itself is phenomenal. It's like you stop all of a sudden, and instead of picking out the 10 things that you did wrong this year in business, you're being asked to only focus on the good stuff. Why the hell haven't we been doing this sooner? We do not celebrate the good enough. All of a sudden, you're kind of going, you know what? I've done some pretty kick-ass things this year. That in itself is like warmer than the award that you could possibly win sometimes. And then to win that award just cements exactly why you deserve that award as well. So putting yourself out there, stepping into that light, I guarantee you nobody's looking. It's only you stopping yourself from stepping forward into that light. When you do that, then we have a game changer. So you won't know this now, but once you move into the light, all of a sudden you realize you are living in quite quite a grey, black and white world. You have these negative thoughts constantly that you're a fraud, you know, weren't worthy, imposter syndrome, all of those titles and labels and comments, all these barriers and rope and whatnot, barricades that weren't letting you proceed. They're all extension of yourself. Nobody was letting you not cross those. It was you not letting yourself cross those. So once we tear those down, we start managing Nancy, we step into our light, then we come into a world of colour, and it is a vibrant world of colour. There's so much opportunity and potential, the growth within you. All of the personal and professional stuff are insignificant compared to the internal self-love and the mindset shift that will happen. It's quite phenomenal. It sounds so mushy, but then you still have that tangible stuff too, which then cement the internal stuff, which is quite cool. When we do step into that light and we do come into the world of colour, all of a sudden we have a world of endless possibilities. And when you get there, all of a sudden you just think, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I do this sooner? And suddenly you want everybody else to do this too, because it's like all of a sudden you can see everybody else's Nancy's and you're like, oh, they're stopping themselves from doing this too. You just want to shout from the rooftop, and just like this picture depicts, you want to help the next woman up and come on, we can do this together. It's like it's this big club secret that nobody tell anybody about Nancy, but get her out of the way and help each other up. It's phenomenal. So what have I achieved since learning to live with my Nancy? Well, let me tell you, magic. So in both professional and personal life, within the last 12 months, within business, my business partner and I have gone from our 1-bedroom unit converted into an office to a 560 square foot 2-story commercial space for our primary business. We went from us two in the office to an office of 8, not including the 80 nurses and carers that we have working for us in the community, delivering our amazing services. We also started up another company called Complete Clinical Consultancy Training Solutions, providing niche training services, closing in a gap that we really struggled to fill as a service provider, providing the niche services that we're providing as well, which has opened up a million and one opportunities in that self as well. So that's very exciting. And then there's been a whirlwind of awards throughout award season that I was nominated for. I won 3 awards with Osmompreneur, and I was also listed as Canberra Woman in Businesswoman of the Year for 2021 at the end of last year, which is pretty exciting. And none of this would have happened without me stepping into my own light, and that was something I had only actively started working on to be true in the last 18 months. And in that last 18 months, my life has blown up, like beyond my wildest dreams, blown up. Then we have on the personal level, obviously our amazing book, Courage and Confidence, was something that became available to me as an extension of winning gold with Osmompreneur. Was a beautiful opportunity presented to me there. I'm very grateful for. From that, I have also signed with the amazing Peace and Katie and Women Changing the World Press for another little project I have in the works. Watch this space on that one. I was also recognised by the Today Show's Random Acts of Kindness late last year. I was about to launch my new subscription box business. I had Nancy all up in my face telling me, you can't. And in a way, I listened to her a little bit. However, I was able to shift that negativity and neutralise it. I was worried that it wasn't the right time. People were in lockdown, losing their jobs, trying to juggle kids at home, and it was a financial struggle for a lot of people across our country when we were all in lockdown. And I just thought, I can't ask people to sign up to a subscription box when they don't know if they're going to have a job tomorrow. So what I did was I repurposed those boxes. So I had 200 of my subscription boxes. I repurposed them and called them Sunshine Boxes. And I put a shout out on social media platforms saying, hey, I've got 20 boxes to each group that I'd presented to. And it was beautiful to see that they were putting their hands up and saying, yeah, you know what, I could use some sunshine, could you send one my way? Or actually, my sister is stuck in Melbourne, can you send her one? My grandmother's stuck in a nursing home, could you send her one there? It was phenomenal. And in doing that, I was totally blown away to have been recognised by the Today Show when they rocked up on my doorstep about that one. So that was pretty amazing. In the last 12 months, I've also launched my podcast, Kindness and Courage, and I have also been lucky enough to be a guest speaker on a handful of podcasts with a handful of kick-ass women in business, also promoting that self-growth and that self-development and self-worth, and just, you know, backing one another. They're phenomenal women, and you know, check them out. They're amazing. And then there's the usual, obviously, family life, my kids. My daughter last year came home on the school holidays and said, "Mum, I want to start a business." And I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" She wanted to make bath bombs. Why do you want to make bath bombs? So she wanted me to get her the business cards and all the shebang. We did all that. And she told me that she wanted to be a businesswoman like Mum, because I make money so I can buy things, and she wanted to make money so she could buy her own things also. I was just beyond. So here she was, hustling her little butt off, making her bath bombs, selling them to her cousins so she could go and buy her own things for herself. That in itself was probably one of the biggest rewards out of this process, was that I had these little eyes watching me have overcome Nancy, and her learning that that's just the way it is. So she thinks that just backing yourself is the norm, and that's the way it should be. And it was so amazing and proud to see her do that. And lastly, I'm happy, like authentically happy. I know another buzzword, but truly, I know we all say that we're authentic in the service that we deliver, or the product that we're selling, or the language that we're speaking, and we can be, yes. But when it comes to being true to ourselves and what we need and our belief in ourselves, I feel like it all starts there. If we can't be truly authentic within ourselves, then that will effectively impact and limit the level of authenticity that we're providing outward. And to find that level of happiness within was just beyond. So that's it for my masterclass today. Thank you so much for joining me. And next up, I have some of my resources and references if you'd like to check any of them out that I referred to throughout this presentation, as well as some of my handles if you wish to connect to me in the outside world. Also, I would love to hear from you. So I think now we're going to cross back to Katie and Peace, and I would love to answer any questions you might have. If I can't answer them right now, then by all means leave it with me and I will get an answer back to you. But again, thank you so much for having me today, and happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Natasha. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Such a great presentation, and something I think so many women can relate to. So I'd love to open the floor for questions. So if you have a question, just let us know in the comments at Facebook and I will ask them. But while people are thinking of their questions and are writing their questions for you, I've got a few questions for you. So you were 18 when you were diagnosed with cancer. Can you tell us a bit about that journey?
Yeah, 18 and footloose and fancy, as they say, thought I was invincible. Clearly I wasn't. So it was a bit of a shock, but it just, given the stage that I was at, it kind of just snowballed so quickly that I just fell straight into treatment and never really dealt with all those things. So I looking back at it now, I can see hindsight's a wonderful thing. That Nancy, that was really where she just really got a hold of me in every aspect. The fact that my purpose and my primitive why were removed, and all of a sudden I was, you know, once I was lucky enough to survive all of that, I was then kind of left with this clean slate, this blank slate to go, well, now what? So yes, it was quite the journey, and one I've only really come to, you know, it's been 18 years now since that diagnosis. It's only one now I've really come to see the full journey of it, I suppose. Yeah, and really appreciate the silver linings that we're in such an awful situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess when you're in the middle of it, you can't see out and beyond and imagine what's going to happen next. And
that's it. You're just on that hamster wheel, just trying to go.
And with a diagnosis like that, which, for stage 4B, it's scary.
Yeah.
Was fear a big factor for you as you were going through that?
Like I said in my presentation, I feel like I think it was, but I really focused it on, my hair. And I guess that still was fear, because I was afraid that it would signify to the world, I'm sick. To have no hair, no eyelashes, no eyebrows just screams chemotherapy patient. And I didn't want sorry eyes. I didn't want pity parties. So I just kind of really externalized all of that and put all my time and energy into worrying about everybody else, making sure they were okay. I wrote a letter, because we didn't have social media. I wrote a letter out to all of my school friends at the time saying, this is what I've got, this is what's wrong with me, don't treat me any different, come and ask me, and really tried to make it as easy as possible for every other person. And I think that was my way of dealing with it / not dealing with it in a sense.
Yeah, wow. And so you talk about negative Nancy. Did you recognize that it was negative Nancy at the time, or is it only like now later on that you realize that voice of the inner critic was
affecting? So I think I knew a little bit, the whole concept around me believing that I'd lost my purpose about being able to have kids. I then extended that, and I know it was totally Nancy now, but it wasn't until I was going through the IVF process 6 years in, I ran into a complete stranger, and she was selling me a watch in David Jones, and I was there to do IVF, and she saw my hospital band for the IVF clinic, and she said, "Oh, is everything okay?" And nobody knew that we were going up to do this round. It was our last round. We were going to give up after this. And it was so unexpected that I just blurted out the truth. We're here to do IVF, because she just caught me off guard. And next thing I know, I'm telling her my story, that I felt that, it was the universe's way of not punishing me, but it was the result of me beating a man-made disease, like having cancer. I used man-made medicine to beat that. So I had this narrative in my head that Nancy had created that will mean I still need to be a dead end. So my life still ends with me. I don't, I know that sounds so crazy. And to say that out loud, I know it's one of those things I wouldn't share it out loud. So that's how I knew that, no, this isn't a fact. It's just my feelings. And that's where I really started to notice Nancy. But it's something I held on to until I met this woman. And she said to me, it's because you think that is the exact reason why you, of all people, deserve children. And then lo and behold, that very round got my daughter. So she made me realize that, wait a minute, just this complete stranger. So many people have said, no, don't think like that. And all those little buzz quotes that you tell all the people that, doing IVF, just relax, it'll happen. And this complete stranger just to say, no, that's not true. Saying it out loud. So I've taken a good decade after having cancer to realize that Nancy was at play there.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful, isn't it? Just, that one conversation.
Yeah.
It's life-changing for you.
Yeah. It's not a light topic. And again, I think that's why I knew it was Nancy, because I really held on to it knowing that, people are going to think I'm crazy if I say that out loud.
Yeah. But I think the thing is that so many women have this voice in their head, and it holds them back from achieving their dreams in all kinds of ways. And so I know that there are people who have got incredible business ideas, for example, that they've had for a long time, that they know are good ideas, that they know they'd be good at, but the voice in their head is telling them, you're not smart enough to do that. Who'd buy that from you? It's never going to work. And it's holding them back from doing their things and following their dreams and making things happen. And I really wish that it was something that was taught in schools, because if girls knew about this before they became women, before they embarked on their careers, imagine what could be possible. Like, I just think it would change a lot. I really think it would make a big impact.
Definitely.
Yeah. What impact do you think it would have had on you if you had known about?
I might have had children sooner, perhaps. That was just a whole heap of twisted fate. Business-wise, it literally took my business partner saying, seeing something in me that I didn't see within myself. We're in our 7th year of business now, and it took the first 5 for me to actually realise what it was that she saw in me. I always used to think, why me? Am I missing something? She could do this with 10 other people. And then I realised 10 other people aren't me. That's my superhero power. They're not me. I'm me. And that I do bring something to the table, and allowing myself that credit. As I said in the presentation, celebrating those things and allowing you to, because if you don't back yourself, nobody else is going to. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you have, embraced your magnificence, and you're now sharing your gifts with the world, and you've written your chapter in this book, but you're also working on a new project, which is super exciting. And you're going to be sharing that wonderful experience there as well. So we do have a question for you from the audience. So Christine has asked, what's it like writing your chapter for courage and confidence? So how was that experience for you?
Quite reflective. Again, it's like I said in my presentation, it's almost like looking back at when you're writing an award nomination application, and you've got to look at everything that you've achieved. It's just that stopping and taking stock of, okay, cool, some pretty shitty things have happened, but some pretty cool things have happened, and there's always been that silver lining, and just, the chapter was just this perfect little bundle to round that all out in. So yeah, it was quite a nice process. And as I said to you before, my book arrived this morning, and I've devoured half of it already, and I just love that all of the chapters, like obviously in a COVID world, none of us have been able to meet face to face yet, but they all just echo the same sentiment. We've all got that inner critic. A few of the ladies have mentioned theirs, or that imposter syndrome, and the echoes of our mums and the lessons that they'd learned and the impacts that they've all had on us. It's just amazing that obviously, we're onto something in regards to unpacking some of those things and the things that we face.
Yeah, it really is an incredible book, isn't it? And I love the synchronicity in the stories and the connections and all of that that's happened as a result. It's been amazing. So I don't think we have any other questions for you. In wrapping up, is there a last piece of advice that you would give to somebody who was thinking about starting a business, but they had that little negative Nancy telling them not to? What advice would you give them?
Honestly, if you've done your research and the facts are the facts and they're solid, then it literally is just that last little leap, and it's always that last little millimeter that's always the hardest. But if everything else is lined up, then there's factually no reason why you can't just take that leap. You can always put safety nets in place, things like, only working part-time in your full-time job, all those types of things to, get your safety net or your little bumper rails to get you there. Business partners is also another amazing opportunity as well. If you've got somebody with the same values and core beliefs as you, to give you that support. But definitely it's just taking that leap. But I believe there's plenty of chapters in there that cover that, taking that leap and backing yourself as well. So.
Awesome. And that's wonderful advice. Yeah, just take that leap. It can just be a small step, but just do it. Just get going.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for your masterclass presentation today. I've really enjoyed it. I know that our viewers who have watched live have enjoyed it, and I'm sure people watching on the recording will be enjoying it as well. And if anyone has questions, please post them in the comments and we'll come back and reply to those as well. Just lastly, where can people reach you?
So either through our business pages, National Communicare, or on Facebook, just my name, and on Instagram, I'm juggling_mama. Obviously, always juggling all those balls.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you, and thank you to everybody who joined us. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Peace.
Thank you.